boy. Alright, so welcome everyone. Hope we let people kind of funnel in here. Pardon as I try to hurry along and get us to where we can actually do our real investigation. So, I've got Pika, the dev for Encore here. Hey Pika, you want to sound off and let people know you're actually here?
Yeah.
Hey, there we go. That's my boy. And here we've got a lot of folks running around. Core Dev says you don't know what the fuck you're doing, that no one could have possibly forked their work and fixed their bugs that were in there from the beginning and deployed this without a whole team of talented devs. In your opinion, do you think that's true?
But it wasted at least 5 of my days doing it, so...
Oh, it took 5 fucking days to fix their fucking math error. And it was a basic goddamn math error, too. I don't know why they let
No,
that
it was
through.
all the other stuff, too.
Oh, yeah, that too. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff, I noticed.
The build instructions were literally just like, good luck, have fun.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, so not even a properly, like, managed and put together project, no concept of how to write documentation or instructions. Were there even any fucking tests? There was nothing, was there? Jesus.
I didn't see any in the test nets that I was using.
Jesus. Alright, well, then... That's professionals for you, folks, or at least supposed professionals, really. I don't know what you're gonna do there. I really don't know what the hell people are expecting of folks, honestly. Like, what the hell do you want out of devs and whatnot? So, hey, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We've given time for people to roll in. And so, cool. Let's go ahead and dig right into what the hell is going on. So, like I said, we've got folks out there fudding on Encore, trying to claim that there's a big compilation bug, that when this thing finishes, the Ethereum just gonna get transferred off into nothing. And I figured, you know what? Let's go ahead and dig in to find out what was actually going on there. So, I will get to questions. I just want to be time sensitive. Pika doesn't have a whole bunch of time. Folks need to get through that. So, I will get back to questions on, like, why fork, you know, on all of that, just to set the stage. We will get to those. I appreciate it, but we do want to get through the investigation. So for one, we can also answer the questions quickly for people. So, to start off with, I'm doing my due diligence and pulled up the Encore Vault website, pulled up the source code through Brave here, and we can see right at the top there, it's got the address for Core. Alright, so we know that we are then looking at the actual Encore address, so we can go grab in here that actual code. When we pull that up and go through, to make this easy, I happen to remember...
Sorry to interrupt you, but for technical issues regarding your audio isn't coming through correctly on the stream, and a couple people have commented about that, just to let you know.
Oh, I appreciate that. Let me see what's happening with my audio that's not coming through correctly. I apologize. Let me see here. I don't see what could have changed or what could be affecting that. Let me try to see here. I don't see what could have changed or what could be affecting that. Let me try to... Was it that it was garbled or just not loud enough? Here, I can try turning up the mic volume there, and we'll see what's up. So, cool.
It was pretty low. It was taking Pika's conversation over yours. Therefore, I'm pretty sure that your streaming software is set for you to go straight off your mic rather than straight through Discord, and Discord's trying to use your mic at the same time. Therefore, it tries to split the audio input. It's not working out very well, so just try to change your main mic to be listening to Discord.
Okay, cool. Then let me... Jesus. Is Discord even gonna feed that back to me here? Can I just change that over to the same output there? Fuck. This is what I get for being a back-end.
Yeah, go for it. So you will see a
there we go.
Yeah, a place to add in audio inputs.
Yeah, I got that there. I'm in Streamlabs there. Yeah, there we are. Okay, cool. I can add in those, and where the fuck do I have this? How do I even set it to what the fuck Discord is? Maybe I can just mute myself on Discord. Yeah, that's what I'll do there. You're not. Fuck it. Let's go ahead and. I'm sorry. Let me just go ahead and I'll figure that out later, and we can go ahead and get through this, and then we'll clear that up for an actual interview.
On the audio setting, you'll see a slider for decibels. Make sure that's not in the negative. And if it is on 0, and that is too low, go ahead and take that decibel and just shoot it up a little bit so that your voice
there we go.
goes over everything else.
Okay, there we go. That should be better. Okay, hey, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Like I said, this is what I get for being a back-end guy and knowing jack all about all of this. So, with that out of the way and my incompetence on fucking audio shit and streaming, leaving it to the experts here, we can get back to looking at the actual code. So, one of the important points here in what's going on in the code is to realize that all the magic is happening here in that initial setup function. And as you'll see later on when we get down to the constructor, this is where it's handling that initial setup, and this is where it is creating the initial supply, going and talking to Uniswap about, alright, well, there's our router, there's that, I know who that is, we can work with that. And then here is, in this case, that function where it is creating that initial pair. Now, for anyone that's curious, this is where there would, in theory, be a bug. And this is where it is saying, as part of that setup, it went and created the necessary pair. Now, you can see in the code here, where it did that, it is asking the Uniswap router, which we've confirmed that is the factory. Oh god, I fucking hate you when you do this. Why do you have to be such a terrible interface? So, as I was saying, when we find that there in the code, and it is actually creating that necessary pair, we can see that it is talking to the Uniswap router and saying, okay, I need you to give me the address for wrapped Ethereum, WETH, there, and create that with the address of this contract. That's what that address this here is doing. So really no way that could be a bug in the code there. Pardon as it jumps around because I'm zoomed in. No way that could be a bug in the code there, because when that when this is all set up, it is literally referring to itself. And by doing that, it's saying, alright, whatever my address is now that I'm deployed, because I don't know what that is when this started off. That got created as part of the deployment. Go ahead and just refer to that and go create the pair. Which means that if we take the actual contract address here, and for simplicity's sake, go over to Bloxy as my favoriteest tool for investigating such things, because it just makes life so easy. We can come down here to the contract creation, because that is where all that magic happened, where it created that necessary token. And if I can ever get through there and say, Jesus, because it's so backed up, because I got too many fucking windows open, because I got too much going on at one time, we there can see, aha, there is the create pair that it said, and there is the initialize. And in creating this pair, we can see right here, as reported by Bloxy, that is the factory contract Uniswap for actually creating such things. And it has a link right here to say, alright, token A, one side, that's going to be WETH. Token B, the other side, this address here. And then in initializing that, this is the final call to say, alright, we want to create this thing, now, boom, we're going to do that properly. And in this case, say what that founder and bounty is. So, in this case, if we double check, here, the contract that was created out of this by Uniswap, we can see, yep, marked as a DEX, marked that it's the Uniswap v2 protocol, and shows no transactions yet because we are still in our LGE. And then, under the create pair, we can go ahead and open that link, and we can see that they're the same down here, so it's the same one. And if we do that, bam, we are brought right back around to the Encore token. So, as we can see, there is no bug, there really wasn't a possibility of any bug, and there is nowhere where this, like, the Ethereum's going to get deposited exactly as intended, because that's how it was originally designed. No error was made in this process, and anyone trying to claim that there was a compilation error is just completely misleading people, in my opinion, on how any of this works, because you can't really have a compilation error when you're deploying on the blockchain, for fuck's sake. Is, like, it either works or it doesn't, otherwise the whole thing gets rejected. So there we go. It was pretty quick. I know we got time-sensitive matter, as Pika might have places to go and whatnot, but, like, here we go. We went through the transaction logs, we double-checked in the code, we followed it through, we saw the pair was created, we literally followed the transaction logs through and around and saw that the pair is created to refer to the Encore contract. So, as far as I'm concerned, that's better than good. Can't really ask for more. What do you guys say?
I would just like to say, the fact that we made the decision to not respond to the FUD from Core and or attack back just kind of shows that, you know, I'm sure that our agents have gotten out around everywhere at this point, right? It is all over everywhere. People are using it as an absolute, like, oh, discredit this coin because of their ages. Yet
yeah,
this
fuck
really
them.
shows that even through our age, right? Even though, you know, we may be younger than the core dev, he's still less mature than we are in these types of matters. He quite literally had a tantrum, a public tantrum, when we forked Core.
Yeah, exactly. And I gotta say, in talking about things like when it came to coming in and negotiating the multi-sig contract, when it's come down to negotiating, like, breaking up the dev fees, and I'll get to that in a moment to give you guys crazy kudos there too, because I think we got a world historic moment first here with what we've worked out. But in all of that, you've been, like, preeminently professional. I mean, goofy as heck, like I kind of am, but fuck it, why not have fun while we're doing this, you know? Like, so long as the work gets done and the code is proven out, why not goof around a little bit while we're being serious on things, you know? Put the serious matter into the results, not into the talk, right? Had some fun with the bombastic marketing, which Core seems to have taken personally on that matter with, like, oh, we'll take control and buy you up with my other project that you guys are now involved in, which I love. Like, I'm absolutely thrilled that you're interested and want to get in on that too. So I also want to give kudos there and kind of announce to the world, I might be wrong, I'd have to do research and double check, but I think we can also announce that we've managed to negotiate and secure the first decentralized cryptocurrency smart contract enforced charitable endowment, because in all of this, a portion of the dev fees that are coming through, Pika so graciously offered to donate to charity in this regard as an ongoing perpetual matter. So you guys can know that as you're buying in and trading on Core, that part of the funds are actually going out to our charity to continue doing this sort of work, continue building on not just Core, not just Chain, but further educational programs, auditor certifications, building out more tools for the community. So one, I gotta say, like, pleasure working with you guys, and thank you so much for helping us secure that future for the charity, and very, very pleased that you believe in our work so much that you want to contribute like that. So, kudos on the historic first.
Yodi, I mean, it is really great, and so far everything's gone so smooth. I did want to bring up something that a few people have mentioned in the Telegram.
Go for it.
In addition to your audit that you provided, and then again today, like walking through this claim about the variable and the address submission for liquidity. Maybe we can allocate a portion of all of the developer funds to get an even more impartial third-party audit done, so that there's even more increased like market confidence.
You know,
Maybe we could do something like that.
I am totally down with that, and as, you know, an extension of goodwill and appreciation for all that's done, then I would be happy to say, as director, that we'll earmark a portion from the charitable donation being made to help fund that. If we'll work through the negotiations, hopefully get them to knock down their price as, you know, part of a charitable work, but we're more than happy once we have the revenue coming through and can help cover that to, if not pay for it in full, at least a hefty portion.
Yeah, I think that'll make a lot of people happy. I mean, all these things just bring, you know, more credence and legitimacy to all these projects that are building.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I mean, Jared, you've been marvelous in going through this. You said you've had interest in staying on and helping build this out and see that through. So by all means, it sounds like you have the professional contacts and relationships to help secure a good independent audit that people can trust and validate. And I think, you know, between you and the rest of the team here, then we can get that secured and get that in place to give that extra surety.
Now, we are having an issue again, once again with the stream where apparently they could not hear Jared.
Oh.
They were asking, pay for what? Couldn't hear the other guy talking. So
Oh.
if you could maybe repeat what the question
Certainly.
was and what you went ahead and...
No, I understand. Thank you. Yes, so to clarify what the question is, so what Jared was pointing out and asking an entirely appropriate point was to say that so far my informal audit of just coming in is still from a biased, interested party, and thus would want legitimately, you know, a independent review of such things and assessment. And so Jared was asking, hey, can we get that done? I'm totally down for that. I think it's a great idea. And thus I was saying, as people have heard, that this is the work our charity is trying to make happen. This is what we want to see through. We'd like to offer such services to other projects, and so we're happy to negotiate out that fee. And depending on our, you know, I don't want to commit too much too early because for the revenue stream, but it looks like from what this is coming in that we should be able to very happily either cover the cost entirely or a major portion as kind of a first grant from the charity to help a project get off the ground.
I also saw a question earlier on about, this is a very, very, very big question which a lot of people were having. By the way, just to give some background, I'm Iron. How you guys doing? I am currently the community manager for Encore, and I guess just kind of being the voice when questions come up. There's one specific question which I did want to answer, just have it on a record so people can go ahead and you know, look through it later. They're asking what's different about Encore from Core. So I want to be completely honest with the community here. We did not expect Encore to grow as exponentially as it did. It was part of the reason why we didn't have a hard cap for the event, and also the reason why we hard-coded the 5-day timer on there into the smart contract. As it has grown, we have been looking at options to grow and build upon the infrastructure that we've created with 14 Core. Core has a lot of potential that it missed out on when it itself launched. For example, just having community input, which we take very seriously, and you know, especially with the multi-sig, that wasn't our original planning, but as the community started to voice their concerns and voice that they did want a multi-sig wallet to be the contract owner with a third party involved being the charity, we went ahead and went for it without much resistance, because we want to make sure to listen to the community, and that we want this coin to be something that whenever you buy Encore or hold Encore LP, you can say specifically that, yes, I'm involved in this, and I want to help it grow, and I know that whatever I do as an individual invested in this project, I have a say in what goes on.
Yeah, excellent. And pardon, we were having folks say that they were reporting further audio problems and not being able to hear you guys and say things. So like, oh, sound is good now. Okay, cool. I just turned you guys up and everything's great. Awesome. So time delay was accounting for that. Great. So yeah, hopefully people are able to catch that. I think to sum up for anyone that wasn't able to quite hear, it's that, the reason that in the fork and the 5-day time and the no limit was to really let the market kind of decide what the price will be, what the value will be, and how this thing will start off, if I'm summing up your point correctly.
Yeah, pretty much. We want community involvement to be there as much as possible, because so many coins miss that fact of, you want somebody, like with cash, right? You know that it's because you have this much money in your wallet, you have this much buying power, and you have this much power and say into what happens next, right? Because then you can influence the flow of the currency. We want to have the community involved in a way which, okay, I have one Encore, it's not a lot, but I know that with this one Encore, my opinions and questions will still be valued the same as somebody that is holding, 20, 30, 40, 50 Encore.
Oh yeah, that's a great attitude to have. I mean, I'm totally down with the proportional dividends and profits distribution, but yeah, I'm of the opinion, I agree. Just because someone might have 1 and someone might have 20 doesn't necessarily mean that the 20 should override the consideration of the 1, because the 1, as pointed out by you guys, they demonstrated so adroitly by your behavior, you're getting this project out, you're wanting to engage with the community, that point of, hey, the small contributors, the young upstarts, the people just coming into the field, they got stuff to contribute, we should hear them out, we should play through that. Did get a question that often comes up on this point that I just wanted to address real quick as a slight tangent. So, questions on the emergency drain after 24 hours. So to be clear, yes, this is in here. To not bury the lead, this is controlled by the owner. Currently, the owner of this contract is a multi-signatory wallet over on Gnosis, where both Iron, Pika, Jared, and myself are signatories. It's currently set as a 3 of 4 quorum, and therefore none of us can take the project and run away with it. And if this were to happen, if there is some sort of problem here where the liquidity can't be deposited, then the owners, which would be that multi-sig Gnosis wallet that I'll pull up in a second here and show the transfer of ownership, would be able to call that and have the funds transferred out to that wallet, which is where I at least hope the community can trust. And at the very least, if you're not sure about Pika and Iron here, then at least Jared and I have interest in getting that cleared up and dispensed out. And so long as you two guys, which I have no reason to believe will be a fucking problem, wander off, then we're set to recover this if anything should go wrong. So to give everyone that peace of mind, the whole purpose of this function is to provide that emergency recovery. It's the exact same. Core has this too. Nothing was changed in this regard. The difference being is that when Core did this, they still had ownership through the entire process. So technically, even though they didn't do anything, technically, Core could have run away with the funds at any point up until the LGE ended. They didn't. Kudos to them. Not knocking them, just pointing out they didn't have, a community-driven multi-sig wallet managing such things. And in that case, here we can see that when this thing was deployed, it was initially set up to just be owned by the Encore deployer wallet. Then after that, we had negotiated the multi-signatory contract. In that transaction, that's where it was transferred over to our multi-sig wallet. And thus we can see here, in the argument where it was passed to, the ownership transferred, was the Encore multi-sig governance Gnosis smart contract, which, if we pull that up, boom, that is right here. So I can also drop that address in the chat for anyone that would like to verify. Let me pull up the Gnosis site too to make that easy for people. and that way you can go double check and confirm all on your own. So pardon there, you guys get to see the charity donations. And no, I'm not on YF Beta. There was talk of things earlier, and thus I had loaded up their wallet, but I don't have access there. So for that one, for folks, if you want to go look and be absolutely sure, complete transparency, there it is. You can look at the address, you can follow the link, you can go see the read-only point, you can see on there how it is set up with the owners on that. We haven't assigned names to them, but there's me right there. And then in these three, there's Iron, Pika, and Jared in some distribution. I have to double check which is which, to be honest. And as far as the policies, you can see that it is 3 of 4 owners. So 3 of 4 of us have to agree to vote on anything to make any changes. So, like I said, if anything goes wrong, we are doing our best to ensure your investments, to ensure the ETH that has been sent in, doing our best to make sure that does not go anywhere or anything can happen to it. And so, worst comes to worst, this ends, and we end up withdrawing the ETH to this wallet here, and we then work out getting you guys your refunds back and sending out the ETH minus whatever the transaction fees are, because, duh, that's got to be paid, and that's got to be paid out of here, but I think everyone can understand that. So, yeah, with that addressed, anything else you guys wanted to say? Iron, Pika?
So I wanted to bring up a point where people are also asking about the total fee of the transactions made with Encore. I just wanted to make it clear that as of right now, yes, the sell fee is higher than Core's, but the fact of the matter is our dev fee is lower than Core's. We lowered our dev fee and heightened the percentage that LP holders receive.
Yeah? Sorry, you kind of cut out there.
Yeah, sorry. We heightened the amount that LP owners receive, so it is better for investors in terms of they get a larger percentage than they would in Core. So the devs are taking less, the investors are getting more. I'd say it's a win scenario for the investors.
Yeah, I would generally agree. You guys are graciously not taking a larger cut and just kind of redistributing that out to the community. So,
which awesome. Once again was a community decision that we accepted. We had no problem with changing the fee that we take, and like I said before, it's all because of how much we really do care about our community and how it grows and evolves as Encore develops. As we gain more resources, sorry about that.
No, go ahead.
As we gain more resources, I would hope to be able to meet more people and figure out a plan on how to develop Encore more to differentiate it from Core. We're very, very early on right now, but we still have a lot of tools that we can utilize that Core had implemented, yet they haven't used it to the full potential.
Yeah, no, I definitely see what you're getting at there, is that, and this is where I had originally tried to approach Core Dev on working with them, because much like you're identifying, like, hey, genius product, genius code, love the way it's set up, I've got an idea to layer something on top of it, this EFI scheme that I've been playing around with for a bit and looking for a good project to experiment on, and then you guys come along and you like the idea, you are interested in expanding, and this is exactly what we're getting at. This should be a long-term thing, a long-term viable platform with plenty of development to expand and build on that. I have ideas that I have humbly offered that you guys seem to be open to, but that's where I'm getting your input and would really like to continue collaborating on that. And we've got that initial agreement to work forward on that. So
I just wanted to say, because I saw that in chat, people are asking if this was Pika talking. It is not. I am Iron. I am the community manager at this point, and I am being the voice for Pika while he gets some audio issues sorted out.
Yeah, there we go. So there you
Well,
are, guys.
I'm still here.
Yeah, there we are. See, there's Pika.
There you go, buddy.
But yeah, that's where we're just kind of, managing the show, letting your talent do what it does, and not have to be in the limelight if you don't want. Otherwise, feel free to take it, man. Like, you're the one that got this whole ball rolling. We're just really here to support your effort and help build on that, because we think it's a great idea, and we love the way that you're managing the engagement with the community, making sure that things get paid back, and I gotta say kudos on the business acumen of giving out more to buyers now, knowing that that's going to secure more investment, a longer life for the project overall, and really help encourage more people to get bought in. So, yes, I did see that Core had a proxy router to buy. In this case, it's just not necessary in this situation. It's not required.
I have a question, and Pika, maybe you want to take this one, because I know that you've gotten it a lot in the Telegram and maybe even the Discord group about the possibility or probability of front-running bots on Uniswap once the listing goes live, if there's a way to mitigate that so that, gas fees can be reduced for people, or what alternatives, if any, exist in that area.
Well, I mean, it's possible for a bot, but like, there's nothing you can really do to prevent them.
Okay.
Yeah, that's from my experience on the code and what's happening, especially from investigating the YFMS hack, which we've investigated. The team, the partner diverged from another project there, just point out, like, the team there is investigating. We're putting together a report, and it is being addressed in next version. But digging through, Pika's right in the assessment there. Like, unfortunately, there's not much you can do with what other people in the world are going to code up to have happen, and because we're just engaging with Uniswap like anyone else, really. I mean, this platform doesn't have any special access to Uniswap in any way. You're kind of left at, well, the whims of whatever the market does. So if someone has a front-running bot and they're going to run that because they find it profitable, unfortunately, not much anyone in the world can ever do about that without a real solid integration with the underlying tech. And since Uniswap isn't making themselves terribly available to do that sort of work, understandable, they got other shit to deal with and bigger fish to fry, no offense to us, then nothing we can really do in that regard, unfortunately.
Sounds like Encore might need a trusted centralized exchange partner at some point.
I could definitely see that. I see what you're throwing out there, and yeah, this is why I'm actually very, very glad that you've agreed to sign on for the long term and help out with that, because, yeah, Jared, it sounds like you've got the necessary contacts and interest to help this get listed on a centralized exchange. I'll save my rant on the philosophical point aside. No offense, I just philosophically and theologically I find the whole concept, like, objectionable, but we can save that for another stream to chat about that point. But yeah, I think it would be beneficial, and you bring a lot of value to the project by helping build those relationships and get that through.
Yeah, I mean, I ironically, or maybe non-ironically, support probably a lot of the same philosophical views.
You're an anarcho-imperialist too. Everyone should be free to conquer as much as they can claim.
Well, I meant more along the centralized, decentralized exchange dichotomy. So, like, we, not to derail the conversation or make this about me or anything, we are building out
a Encore here.
Definitely. So we are building out, and in our roadmap have a decentralized exchange business model and platform that we'll make to the market, or make available to the market in the short term. So it's not all about decentralized stuff for us, but yeah, I definitely agree with you in a lot, and the greater, like, underlying
necessary evils in all of
yeah,
it. Like,
exactly.
Yeah, it's like we've got a world to deal with. We've got an old system that we're still trying to contend with. They still want to do things in their traditional model, and sounds like you guys are following that case. Like, look, we understand what you're dealing with, and we get it. We kind of have to play along with you people. We can't be too antagonistic about things. So, sounds like you guys are handling that middle point of, all right, let's liaise with the traditional system, make them happy,
Correct.
and then be able to go do the decentralized stuff that we think is so valuable.
100%. That's like our soon to be announced future roadmap. And it's interesting. I mean, you might remember, maybe you're closer in age to me than the other guys. Do you remember the movie SLC Punk?
Oh God, yeah.
You remember the monologue at the end where he's talking about the system and how you got to go into it to change it, basically? That's kind of my whole mantra with regards to this.
Okay, yeah, then we're definitely of like minds as a little, like, Discordian agent operating in the world to try to take down the system through innovation, not by actually aggressing against anyone. I think we're of like minds there, so yeah, like I said, it's great to have you on. I'm really glad that you're invested and interested in seeing this through, and so I think it'll be a great value to get that listed on your centralized exchange to help build out that rapport, and then also continue on to help out I mean, I'm not speaking too presumptuously to help you guys out in getting out to the decentralized part and help launch that and integrate with Encore and any other projects that charity's working on. So it sounds like we've got a great relationship building there and can be a lot of benefit to the projects that are coming through our auditing and educational process that we're planning. So fantastic. Do you get questions on how this relates with Chain? So kind of wanted to focus on Encore right now, but I also don't want to dismiss those questions. Chain is still in development and we're in the design phase. Have agreement from the contribute dev to offer their assistance when they can. Life complications, a lot of stuff going around, so understandable that they can't make a great amount of time, but between Pika, myself, the devs we have from charity, the devs that are making themselves apparent through the Chain community and the Encore community, I think we can work out a fantastic model. The basic premise, and I'm actually almost loath to bring up the design now, if you guys, if you don't mind me talking about future projects that we were discussing. Is there anything that you guys wanted to bring up before I kind of tangent it off?
I did want to bring up some questions that were going on, which I guess haven't really spread out enough yet. We have answered this question a lot of times on the Telegram, but I just wanted to make sure that it was on something that anybody can go back to and look at later. They were asking what is the benefit to going into the LP event for Encore now. Currently, the way that at least I would see it as an investor is that you would be a part of the initial buying and selling cycle in the very beginning, so you're able to take advantage of that hike, for lack of a better term, in the very beginning, and securing more Encore earlier than anybody else. So you would be buying the Encore LP at a lower price than it is going to be after it launches.
Excellent. So there you go. There's your answer. Like, why should you buy in now as opposed to out on the open market? Can understand people want to be hesitant, wanting to make sure that the liquidity gets deposited as planned. So totally get the reservation there, everyone. Not holding that against you. But as Iron pointed out, if you wait, and you wait until that's done to buy in, then you're missing out on the effectively 50% discount of buying at the moment. Because at the moment, whatever ETH you put in, you're getting the commensurate amount of Encore on the other side to match that. And thus, it's kind of that 50% discount. Because if you go wait until it's out and you go buy it on the open market, then you're going to have to buy Encore at whatever price that is when this is done, and then also stake into liquidity the equivalent amount of ETH. So as you can see, that's that case where you're losing that 50% discount. So heads up, guys, not to try to put a rush on things, but now's the time to buy when the LGE is over in about just under 2 days now. It's you miss your chance to get that bonus. So hey, as you can see, I'm even bought in for 1 ETH right now myself. I'm a broke Doge, and I'm getting a charity off the ground. So pardon as I don't have much to throw in right now. All right. So yeah, before possibly try to tangent to future plans, anything else you guys wanted to cover?
Yeah, I did want to say that with the botting, the way that we actually, in all honesty, it turned out to almost be, well, it was planned, but almost by accident in terms of the botting part of it, was that no whale can buy in right now with like 100 ETH and not get diluted. There is almost an infinite dilution until, well, depending on how many other people contribute, until the event is over. Therefore, if somebody in the very beginning put in like 100 ETH and they had 100% of the LP, as more people start coming in, their percentage starts getting diluted. So with bots, the very big thing I see is that these whales will put a whole lot of the percentage of the total cap on other projects to be able to hold that share of that entire coin's market to be able to bot effectively. In this case, since nobody knows how many other people will be investing and how much the end of the LP event will raise, those whales don't have as much confidence in, okay, I know for sure I'm getting 50% of the entire market. So
they could just bomb the LG at the end, right? So I mean, there's a timer on there. I mean, it's an equal dilution for all participants up until the end of the event. I mean, that's that just says it all, really.
As Encore grows, it gets harder and harder and takes more and more and more to get that correct point of percentage to have botting be a profitable venture for somebody. So it's a deterrent. It's not a okay, it's a stop all. There's not going to be any bots. It's definitely a deterrent though, because people are going to need, botters are going to need more capital to put in to be able to run something like that.
Good
Definitely.
Point. Yeah. And I was just pulling up the exchange rate right now. Right now, we are just shy of 500,000 bought in USD at the current exchange rate for Ethereum. So, heck, boys, if you got any funds lying around and you want to throw that in, we can try to push this over 500 million market cap. Whew, hot damn.
500,000.
Yeah, yeah, we're just shy of 500,000, buddy.
Yeah, sorry, I heard you say 500 million by accident. I was like, sorry, I mean, hey, that'd be nice too. But hey,
no, half a million. Gotta keep it like humble and understandable.
Yeah,
but, hey, 500,000 is like quite an accomplishment. Yeah, 500,000 is quite an accomplishment for like, pardon as I rip a bit, but like 14-year-old forking some code, fixing some math bug a professional couldn't handle at the beginning, that caused a giant snafu on launch, and to just push out some code. And now we're here with roughly 500,000 business and negotiation and interest from a centralized exchange representative. Again, understand that you're not speaking for your exchange. You're still speaking for yourself.
Yes, correct.
The fact that this project started with a 14-year-old and then hired a 16-year-old, and that's how it all started.
It actually started with somebody was going like, oh, you stop trading like shit coins and then go on and then go use your time and get 4 core and then get rich that way instead.
So it literally started as like a joke, like, hey motherfucker, why don't you go do some work and actually generate some real revenue? And you're like, sure, why the fuck not? I got the job.
Now he's just like, what?
I bet that guy's real mad, eh?
I love it.
Pika, maybe you want to talk a little bit just about how you got into Solidity and maybe your skill set a little bit, even though you've not done a bit. Maybe just kind of go off on a rant for a minute about that.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it, man. What got you into it?
I'm a noob at Solidity, honestly, but like I know other like JavaScript and like PHP, that stuff. Made my own Discord bot, and like it's been verified by Discord, which is pretty cool.
So it's
Hey,
just a
that's not
natural,
common.
Well, he was
natural
also on the-
evolution.
he was also on a project with us called DiskPay, and he worked on that with me and another developer for a little while. Like I said, sadly, it kind of got shut down due to laws and regulations within the states. But I'm pretty happy that it evolved into having the resources necessary to take a joke and actually do it.
Yeah, which you guys were pointing out before on the maturity matter. It's like you guys took a friendly ripping and joke and turned it into a $500,000 business right now. And core dev is getting salty and spreading lies about the code. They're like, okay, so you've managed to go from 14-year-old taking a joke and like, fuck it, I'll do it, hold my beer, boys, to 16-year-old engaged as social media manager and helping get this out there, to Jared, I don't know how old you are, but you're probably commensurate with me around that age, like probably 30s, 40s, there, to me in my like 40s, 50s, helping out here. So like, kudos to you for moving up in the world, I fucking guess.
I just wanted to say that, somebody said I thought that being 14 was a joke. You see, everybody says, right, that kids are the future, and this has never been proven exactly before until they become adults. But yet, you're kind of seeing history unfold here. I'm pretty sure that we are the youngest, blockchain team, or being part of a blockchain team right now.
I'd say you're the fucking team. Jared and I are here just helping, man. Like, this is your baby. So yeah, youngest dev team.
Yeah, well, in the beginning it cried a lot, but hey, we took care of that, eh?
Yeah.
Oh man, I can only imagine the fucking stress you guys have been facing. Jesus Pika, like, did you know you were gonna get into any of this when you started?
No, I was more expecting to sell it off sometime.
Jeez, man. Like, alright, so I gotta ask, like, stop me if it's too personal here, but like, do your parents know yet that you're in charge of a $500,000 business right now?
Yeah, they're pretty amazed.
Sweet! I fucking love it. See, this is what I love about the goddamn internet, man.
I wish I had, I wish I had the same mindset from my parents, because my parents are very all right. When you get paid? Like it's I don't know how to even explain that philosophy. It comes into the point of like how much the older generation doesn't understand the technological. Well, I don't want to say older generation, but like they a lot of them don't understand the technological feats that anybody can do now. You don't have to have a multi-billion-dollar company to start something like this, and the fact that at least my parents don't really understand it. It's like, okay, well, I see a number on a computer, but I don't see hardcore, they're just like bills somewhere stored, which is something that crypto wants to change. And I feel like the fact that our core team is so young, it really promotes that vision of the future is online, and the future is going more toward the future is decentralized. The future is on a computer. The future is digital. That's something that really needs to get out to the older generation of, hey, digital currencies, they're not just a joke anymore. They are something that is actually investable, and there are so many different types and different teams, companies, coins out there now that there is a very large spectrum of, there's something for everyone. It didn't used to be like that. And that is something that really needs to, get out there now. There's something even for teens, like there.
Something for teens that isn't TikTok, okay?
Exactly. There you go. Something that is that's for teens. Something that is for teens that isn't TikTok. It's something that is actually helpful and something that will actually bring change to the larger market around it. It's not something that you just waste your time on. The digital world is no longer seen as a waste of time. It is seen as a resource, and it's cryptocurrency has been trying to prove that for so long, but it hasn't happened yet. If we can get that to happen, if we can get more media on this,
lovely point. I don't want to necessarily have to cut you off, but we do have Pika saying that they got limited time, and we were going to give them the floor a little bit to give a development update on the current state of affairs, and then let them go. And then Iron, I'm happy to continue for as long as this, and Jared, you're welcome to join in. So Pika, please update, and then thank you for your time.
Alright, so earlier today, you guys decided that we should put on half fee for buying, so that the holders and the stakers aren't really pissed off, because at the beginning they won't be getting anything because buying has no fee at the beginning. But I think Coyote, he's showing the transaction I just posted somewhere else a while ago, where I basically have it. Yeah, it's testnet. I have it working so that the fee distributor will now only take 50% of the normal 1.1% fee when you have the buying off Uniswap. But this won't affect other decentralized exchanges or centralized exchanges. Only Uniswap for now. It's upgradable, so it can be changed though.
Yep, so there you go. Fantastic. We got that record here. It is deployed and working on testnet, so that can go into place on mainnet shortly, and we'll get that in as quickly as possible. We still got about just shy of 2 days on the LGE finishing, so plenty of time to get that deployed on mainnet and make that change. And we'll certainly make sure to report the transactions so everyone can verify that when that's done. So yes, thank you, Pico, for your time. If you need to go, we understand. Sorry, Jared, you were saying?
No, see ya. Have fun.
See you later, Pika. Thanks. What I was gonna say actually just kind of mirrored what Iron was sharing earlier. I'm in my late 30s now. When I was in high school, we didn't have my background's computer engineering, and when we were in high school, it was either 9th or 10th. I think it was 10th grade. We didn't have a C++ class, and a bunch of us wanted to take it. All we had, I think, at the time was Pascal, and Pascal, as you know.
Oh God!
It's
a learning language. That's it. It is literally
right.
It was implemented initially as an educational language. It had no intention of going anywhere, which means it had all of its weird little idiosyncrasies that don't work in prime time, but are acceptable in a learning language, but also builds up bad habits because you get used to things being a certain way when you're learning.
Right.
Yeah.
So we had petitioned our school for a C++ class, and actually our typing teacher, ironically, was teaching our Pascal class, and so she had to, over a summer, go learn C++ to come back and teach it. When she came back, she had no idea. Me and a few of my friends had read the C++ textbook, had learned the language over the summer. Again, we were like Pika's age, right? And came in and essentially had to take over the class and teach the other kids in the class while she was also kind of learning/relearning it from her crash course over the summer. And so, Iron, I don't think it's anything specific to your generation. It's actually a multi-generational shift, and that's why it's taking the time that it takes. Yes, a larger percentage of your generation and then the generation after yours will move that forward, and that's just human evolution, really. And technology plays a bigger role in that evolution as our lives become more convenient, our financial lives become more entrenched in digital finance and all of that stuff. So I echo a lot of that kind of sentiment from growing up, and it's great. I love to see this kind of stuff being spearheaded by that age group and young people, and them taking an interest in that and really running with it. So, I mean, like you said, Coyote, kudos to them, and I hope they have a lot of success with this project for sure.
Oh, I think it will go very, very far. But Iron, I think you wanted to chime in.
Yeah, the one thing that I've kind of learned in all of this is that you cannot go too fast in terms of saying what you want to do, how and what you want to upgrade, just because of the fact that one, yes, it takes a lot of work and resources. Excuse me for 1 second. My cat decides to walk on a cable. I had to get her off of there. Back to my main point was that we never expected to have the resources that we have now, and now that we do have them, we as our generation, we're known for like, okay, now we want to go on to upgrading it more, adding more features, adding this, adding that. But what I'm learning very, very quickly is that we want to make sure that we have as stable of a project as we go on and upgrade things as we possibly can, so that every single time we add something new, we want to make sure and give it ample time to be not tested, but I'd say even proven as a concept that we want to continue with. For example, I know that a lot of tokens on the Ether blockchain, if successful enough, will go on and create their own blockchain, which
boom! We hit 500,000. Sorry to interrupt you, but I thought it was big fucking news.
I did see that.
Did the exchange? We are at over 500,000 right now, boys. Man,
yes,
fucking amazing.
Hey,
See, this is what I wanted to chime in. Go ahead.
I looked at it literally like a minute ago, and it was $400 off. So I didn't want to sound the horn yet. But looks like the pending transaction. Whoa, wait. Okay, I guess we have even more pending transactions.
So what you're telling me is I'm more diluted now.
Yeah, you're more diluted now. But that means increased liquidity, which means more trading in the future, which means better returns. So, to anyone out there that's concerned about, I'm getting diluted and all of that, you're also getting a 50% discount, so think about that in your calculations.
Also,
second, understand that all of this liquidity is going to help drive even more investment, which means your dilution now can be seen as a long-term investment on the future to reap those dividends. Sorry, you were saying.
The way that I see it right now, since all that Ether will be locked in liquidity for Encore, people that get in now, they know the price of Encore, and Encore at the end of the event will stay somewhere around that price point. But people that get in later, that's when they have the risk of going up, down, left, right, and center, with just like with most cryptocurrencies. So I would even say getting in now would be a safer long-term investment rather than waiting for after the LGE, where everybody is included and anybody can do anything and trade however they want to at that point. But the fact that everything in the LGE will stay locked, that is a benefit to getting in now. And
so again, to chime in there is like, again, pardon to interrupt there, but like, understand everyone, we're explaining the math, we're explaining how the code functions, but as accurately pointed out, that this is not financial advice, we're not licensed professionals in this regard, we are not duly appointed and anointed by the powers that be to have the wisdom to be able to give financial advice. I'm a fucking cartoon doge on the internet, as my rant on Twitter said before. If you're in any position where you're trying to take financial advice from a cartoon doge telling you that this isn't financial advice, and at some point you feel the need to like try to hold me accountable, you gotta go back several steps and figure out where the mistakes were made early on. Because in all of this, understand that everything auditors are doing, everything we're talking about here, we are just explaining how the code works. We're explaining how we understand the economics. We're doing this to share the information. It is not actual financial advice. We have not been anointed by the powers that be to be able to give that sort of information. All praise be to the powers that be and deciding who gets to make such decisions. Sorry, the hat moment for a rant there.
All good, man. It just gives more information out to our already existing investors and potential new investors as the LGE continues. I did want to go back.
Oh, I wanted to jump in there because there has been a lot of questions on like, will the staking be live? Will it be functional when the LGDE is over? So to be very clear for everyone, the staking is deployed. There is no further development needed for the staking, for the rewards to work. It is already in place. It is built into Encore. It is entirely functional right now. It is literally just waiting for the LGE event to finish, to deposit those funds into the exchange, and then boom, when that happens, you're automatically be available to stake in there. You can go ahead and claim your portion, boom, put that right in. We are off to the races. So do not worry, this is not like other projects where you're hoping the devs are going to do it, you're praying that they're going to actually put this together and realize that final product that they've been pitching to you guys and promising will be the case in ways that say this isn't actually an investment, this isn't actually a security, the value that you're getting is not actually from the promise of future work. There's no promise of future fucking work here, boys. It's done. It's out. It is active. It is just waiting for the LGE to finish. Once that's done, boom, you can stake right away. There is no need to wait for any of the devs to do any further work on that point. So again, that keeps coming up. Felt the need to be said.
Yeah, after your point right there, actually, I do also feel the need to say that, you know, even though we do not need to do more work on all of this, we want to at this point. We are excited at the possibilities that all of this has really opened for this being a core fork. Like I was stating before, back to when I was talking about how some tokens, after they get successful enough, or to the point where they have enough resources, are able to, you know, go onto their own chain and, you know, do that switch very easily without any major changes. But then they have their own chain that they're able to upgrade and build on more intuitive technology into. That is definitely something that would be amazing to have the resources to do, because I heard a lot of people talking about the fact of adding automated vaults and things like that to Encore, differentiate it completely from Core and add in another element from another largely successful token. And that's definitely something, you know, that we have taken note of and that we are reviewing to see what we can do about. We definitely want this to be a project that's, you know, bigger than just you know, we're doing it better than Core. We want to be, we want to have a different approach to how we handle our blockchain and how we handle our I'm sorry, I'm not finding the words right now. Like, you know, this just goes to show that I'm not, you know, going off a script or anything right now. This is just, you know,
fine.
pure, you know, getting gutted pretty much. These are all questions that, you know, nobody really informed us about. They just kind of came up. So the more we want to make Encore more intuitive, and better in pricing, better in fees, just better in the community outreach, better in how we conduct business as a team than Core did, because they missed out on a lot of that community aspect, and that is something we really want to go for. We really want to make sure that whenever we hear something from the community, we will jot it down, see what we can do about it, and see if that is something that we want to add into our project.
Yeah, and that's where I gotta say, like, one, for anyone that's concerned about the professionalism of the devs, or anyone involved, anyone that's been concerned about, like, oh, we've got a young kid here who admittedly says they aren't that experienced with Solidity or anything. Like, one, gotta say, they are the ones that reminded us to point out that this is not financial advice. So, like, I'm just pointing out here, like, in a room of 4 people and 2 experienced professionals, it took a 14-year-old kid to remind us, hey guys, make sure you tell people it's not fucking financial advice. So, like, kids keeping the old hat in check while we're memeing hard on their behalf. So kudos there to Pika for making that call out and making sure that we're making everyone's expectations entirely clear. And as you just said, Iron, there's commitment to going forward, there's commitment to developing additional projects. That's where, not to tangent off, but having talked to you about the idea I've had for Chain and layering that on top of Encore as a very complementary asset management tool on top of that to give people a token backed by their assets in Core that's a little more liquid, something that they're not waiting for that payout to come to say, look, I know that's coming, the platform's going to take care of redeeming that for me, and following kind of the Core model, which I gotta say, call out to the Contribute dev too, because this Core model that I see is actually coming from a lineage of Contribute, where Contribute is the one, I'm not knocking you guys, I'm just pointing out the lineage here of, Contribute's the one that seems to have come up with this whole liquidity locking and platform reserve process. Very different, obviously, from what is going on in Encore and what you guys are forking and taking advantage of there, but kind of that same basic premise of, look, when you buy in, the platform's going to manage the asset for you, it's going to maintain a reserve that is going to act effectively as the backing for the overriding or the layered asset on top of that to help you manage that. And that's where I'm absolutely thrilled that you guys are interested in continuing on the development. You guys said you're interested in working with this chain idea that I have. I'm very flattered that people think it's a great idea, and I think that can be a very complimentary case there. Happy to tangent to future plans whenever anyone's ready there. But like I said, kudos to you guys for being interested, being engaged, and wanting to take that forward. And I gotta say, through all of this, have handled this much more adroitly and professionally than many people I have worked with over the years, by all means. So to anyone that's doubting that of, young inexperienced dev and doesn't have a lot of, fuck that. Doesn't fucking matter. The code speaks for itself. The code works. You continue on with the code, and at this point, I think between the multi-sig wallet, the people that are involved and interested in continuing this process, we see a long future ahead of this, and I am very, very proud and honored, actually, to be able to bring the resources of charity to bear on helping out with this project, especially in gratitude for the lovely, lovely perpetual endowment that is being offered by this. So we'll need to talk to lawyers on the implications of that as a tax deduction on anybody's part, because technically that's coming out of everyone's transactions, weirdly. So I don't want to say in advance, because we got to talk to lawyers on the implications of all of that, but we're in kind of a weird case here where we very possibly, after consulting with attorneys to verify this, could end up with a case that, provided that you do the proper accounting for it and work out what portion of the dev fee tax that's being taken on the transaction. Mind you, part of that tax is also going back into the community. That very well could be classified as a tax-deductible donation. Like I said, no promises. We got to talk to lawyers to confirm everything, but we got a weird first where every transaction with this thing could very well involve a tax-deductible donation on your part. Like I said, lawyers need to get involved.
On that fact where you were saying that, because this is a project that transacts, a store of value, in the States at least, they require that anybody that does that have enough funds to, if something went wrong, to, pay everybody back. With us having the feature of the ETH and the liquidity event locking down that ETH, that is liquidity that stays with us, and that is counted as yes, this is our fallback fund, even though it'll always be on the chain, and it'll always be the chain that decides that.
Okay, so basically to say in your unprofessional layman assessment as not being a legal professional and not having the appropriate licensing, your research as the team indicates, and people should definitely do their own research and get their own consultation on such things, but because
this is from Google.
This is from Google, to be clear. Obviously do your own research, get your own consultation, be clear, anything we're saying here is not financial or legal advice. We are not duly anointed by the great powers that be to give such advice. We're just reporting what has been discovered on Google to understand this, but from other precedent in such matters, how this thing is designed satisfies those various regulatory requirements. Again, understanding that we gotta, confirm all that, consult your own attorneys, we're not giving that advice there, but it seems like we're totally set in that regard.
Yeah, at least from what I've read, yes. Now, going back to having, because the funds are locked, I saw that somebody was saying, oh, wait, so you're jumping to, your own chain? And no, that doesn't mean that we're jumping to our own chain. It just means that it is a possibility that we are looking into, that we will eventually look into and see if that will be beneficial enough to the project to go through the process of figuring out how we would still keep that liquidity locked and accessible by the chain, without having major switches or changes to the way that the code is currently implemented. That will be something for the future. I am speaking, at least right now, as this project is growing very rapidly. We are developing things kind of as the information comes in. Due to the fact that we didn't expect this project to go as big as it did, like I was saying before, in that time frame. We only started with me and Pika. We were the only two on the team, and we very quickly got overwhelmed with with a lot of questions, and replying to everybody is close to impossible at this point. I'm getting, I have currently 311 messages on Telegram, and they keep on just spiking up. So.
Oh, I know. I'm backed up on Twitter messages for fucking point. At this point, responding is just like a lost cause.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that if you have an important question, and we aren't responding, or we haven't seen your question, please try and get other people as well to start asking that question to so that it goes up the the ladder and eventually reaches us. Because a lot of questions that were given apparently on the first couple of days only got to us this morning, because that's when more and more people started talking about it. So I just want to let the community know, don't take offense to us missing a question, or don't look at the instant bad side of us not seeing or not answering a question because we are backed up on those.
It's a reality check on the logistics. Yeah, it's a reality check on the logistics. It's you two and the community helping out, and two people can only be expected to handle so much as far as communication, especially when Pika's busy focused on development and getting transactions in place to get things configured properly and getting that feedback from the community. So yeah, everyone, the team wants to talk to you. They definitely want to address questions. Messaging them directly is, to be honest, kind of counterproductive in that sense, that having to take time out to answer every little question in private is time taken away from development and managing the community. And so I think as a general recommendation for not just Encore, but so many projects out there where you're getting these questions, you can try sending questions to me, you can try sending questions to the team directly, but understand that asking those privately and not in the general forum means that nobody else has a chance to answer your question in the community, and you're leaving it entirely up to very busy people trying to keep a lot of plates spinning to get back to you with that answer. And as you said, Iron, you have an interest in doing so, you want to get through all those, but trying to churn through giving hundreds of people the same fucking answer again and again is just goddamn mind-numbing. And at a certain point, I don't know about you, but I feel kind of bad just having this form answer that I just keep pasting into messages.
I do need to interrupt you here real quick, due to the fact that I just got a direct message which got to me impressively. I saw it come up. This one is pretty important, which actually I've seen on Twitter and going around everywhere, which I feel like has been misunderstood. This is from your Discord, the charity's Discord, where Aphonia Pays says, let's see, it says, well, it just starts off with saying somebody, let's get the order to do it, and then somebody pings you and says, "This is its own thing. We're just eating Core first to take their power as a proof of concept." Eating question mark, I don't understand. And you then reply saying, "We buy and lock up their tokens, use their liquidity as our own, along with anything else we want." That isn't Encore. That is your is your own. That is your own project. That is not related to Encore. People are taking this out of context, and the people that like to spread FUD are using this out of context to put onto Core. And I would just like to put onto Encore.
Right. Thank you.
I would just like to mention that.
Let me take ownership of that when you're done with your statement. You're right.
If you do not see either me, in terms of Discord, it would be me, Iron Blacksmith, or one and only Pika, responding and or talking about what they are talking about. It is most likely not related to Encore. We can be partnered with whoever we want, but that does not mean that they speak for Encore.
Yes, and to be very clear, I want to say that I hope that I did not misconstrue or misportray any of that in any of the relationships here. So again, to be very clear, first off on that point, I bear Core Dev no ill will. Like, I get it. They got a project, they got an idea. I came out of nowhere during the initial launch, first to take a look at it before it came out, thought it was a good idea, promoted it from there, continued on to follow up on when the LG was over, partly because I was hearing there was a bug and just wanted to help the community out, because it was easier to just do a stream at that point and answer everyone's questions all in mass than to try to hop between all the messages. See previous statement. And then the Core Dev got the bug fixed. Like, I wasn't helping out there. I just maybe dropped some research on there that might have been beneficial, but from there, I saw what was going on. I love the concept so much. I said, hey, I've got an idea I'm working on with this other group over here that got burned by Orb like myself because we were dumb and FOMO'd in without double checking things. And hey, I'd love your help here and getting partnered over there. And in doing that, I went ahead with, bombastic marketing hype, where I'm talking about like, oh, we'll take their liquidity, we'll lock it in. To be clear, we can't steal anyone's liquidity, honestly. Like, we're just, the entire premise here, and I can get into that if you're welcome to discuss a bit about, what I have humbly proposed as future plans that Contribute Dev and yourself, you guys seem to be interested in getting involved with, is really just an asset management tool. And the whole point is to say, okay, you buy in with this tool, and we go off and make the executed exchange, not on your behalf, but by leveraging the assets bound up in the platform from everyone that's invested to help facilitate and make that as advantageous as possible, doing so in a way that doesn't harm the underlying asset, where we're literally just, the intention is that we trade on the market like anyone else. We're just bringing to bear the resources of a platform and the resources of a community that have staked in to make the platform possible to do this, and thus, like anyone else on the market, we can go buy something up if we want, and it's our asset at that point. We can manage it however we like, and if people see fit that this idea of chain and what I'm proposing here and working out the design with many people is advantageous, then great, come on over. Happy to buy Encore through this. We'll help manage that asset. We'll provide an EFI token to provide that liquidity, so that way you can reap the benefit of the value in Encore while also having a asset layered on top of that to be able to give you that more liquidity and ability to expend or use that more. And so that's where, like, pardon my bombastic marketing, I think you can understand, Iron, where I'm coming from. I'm kind of a goofy, YOLOing kind of guy, but like, I don't plan an attack against Core. I don't give a fuck. I like what they're doing. Same thing with Encore. To be honest, we have such a success with Encore. We've got plans from Contribute to work with them and layer a similar product on top of them as an option. They're happy to engage. So to be honest, I don't feel the need to go back at Core. Like, I don't really give a fuck, really. It's just, it was another asset that people are interested in and it's got value, and we think we've got something, or at least I think I got something to add with a management platform on top of it. So you know, again, pardon, thanks for bringing that up, and appreciate the check on me not speaking for others. I hope that was not misunderstood by anyone. I'm not trying to speak for Encore Dev. I've got no ill will to Core Dev. It's just a difference of vision, and we're moving on. And I apologize that people took my hyperbolic, bombastic marketing hype as, you know, something clearly indicative of intent. I really just meant that we'll have the ability to go buy whatever the fuck we want at a pretty hefty capability, given what I'm proposing can be leveraged by the platform, and therefore take advantage of buying assets that you want to buy. And the way I'm proposing that we do this, and the way folks are helping design, is to say, fuck it, we're not hurting an underlying asset. If you don't want in on this, that's fine. We're not doing anything to you, and we're just trading like anyone else. We're just doing it in a coordinated way through a platform. So, pardon as I had to make that clear. I appreciate the clarification and check there.
A lot of people are asking about if there will be a core/encore pair. At this point in time, at least to me, I wouldn't really see a benefit in that. Well, there could be a benefit in terms of people would be able to, you know, trade core and encore directly. Yet, if it goes the wrong way for core, I feel like they're gonna start, you know, they'll get mad again and start spewing more FUD out, which
yeah, I'm in agreement. Probably best
Yeah.
right now to be like, look, you know what? Sorry, guys. I apologize that everything came off wrong. No hard feelings. Let's just wander off and do our own thing, all right? We'll just leave you be.
yeah, people were saying, you know, maybe that we instead should work with, you know, the core team. Yet
We'd love to. I don't know if it's for you, but like, I'd love to.
that could have been a possibility if they would have been more mature about things and, you know, talked to us or contacted us first before, you know, starting to spread rumors and, you know, just random FUD all over multiple social channels that's trying to face us. At that point, that's an attack on Encore, and I don't feel that it would be very, you know, for lack of a better word, smart to work
Engage
with
such an antagonistic project. Yeah, I'm with you there.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I'm in agreement. Like, we'll leave things, or at least on my side, I will say that I will leave things be. No hard feelings on the misunderstanding of marketing hype and all of that. Was just trying to rah-rah cheerleader people in. I hope no one misunderstood or misconstrued that, and I think I'm in agreement. We'll just, you know what? Peace out. Thank you, boys. Success wishes upon you. It seems to be lovely what you're doing over there. We'll just wander off and do our own thing. So, awesome. Well then, I guess there was questions on like this future point, and I don't necessarily want to take point away from what is going on here with Encore and everything, but there does seem to be questions of this in like future intent, plans. I do have a rough design that I've been talking with people about and pitching around the chain group, so I don't want to necessarily tangent, but it seems like we keep getting future questions.
Yeah, well, I did see a question in the chat right now which says Iron needs to manage the community, but the devs need to focus on getting that Apple retro side out. See, the thing is, though, that we don't want to focus on the past very much, especially because, you know, our ages did get out there, and we want to use that as a positive. Since we are younger, I feel like it would be better to say to create a site that is a little bit more modern and more intuitive with a easy to use UI rather than going for, you know, the older generation of sites and you know, operating systems in that case. We want to promote a vision of we are looking to the future, and, you know, we are a step up from core. Right, we don't want to be on par with core. We want to be a step up. We want to do things differently. We want to change. We want to have the difference in how we manage our community, how we listen to our community, how we do business, and how we are, distributing our fees. We want to have that. Yes, we are, we're going forward rather than backwards.
Yeah, and on the question on UI and anything that changes from what's there right now, like, again, please understand this is just the initial and I would say good compromise on, like, let's have a nice, clean, simple interface that people can understand, not too complicated on the interactions and what's happening on there, and thus just give people that easy on-ramp to get in without too many distractions or confusion in the UI. But as you guys have already shown on some preliminary mock-ups and things that will be in place, there's a whole idea of, like, this retro Apple feel, kind of a retro Windows feel thing. I think more along Apple, correct me if I'm wrong, feel to it, and that is actually in development and should be ready for when LGE ends. So Pika is, as I understand it, and correct me if I'm wrong, focused on doing that. That will definitely be wrapped up in time for the LGE to finish and will be in place readily enough.
I did see, so Dave C just is still bringing up the point where, he says I'm going to quote him, I just feel like because spends too much time on Discord /TG chats and never needs to be on coding and work. Iron handles the community as long as the website launches, even a futuristic site. So in that case, in the case right now, since I do have a background in web development and, front-end design, I am going to be helping out on the site. So because our team is so small at the current point, we are doing a little bit of everything. So at times where I need a break, Pika comes on and answers questions, and whenever Pika needs a break to go do what he needs to do, I get on to answer questions. We are currently working out some logistics with adding a couple more moderators to our channels. Of course, they would require a long list of what to answer the question.
Let me throw out there as an option. I don't want to speak for anyone over on Chain, but it sounds like we've got a good relationship going there. We've got some great people in the Chain community that have been stepping up, helping manage things, doing stuff. Shba over there is absolutely fucking amazing in handling things. They are on spot with answers when questions come up, so we can try talking to folks over on the Chain community, see if we can get that agreement if you're interested.
We can talk about that in I would say a more private conversation with all parties involved. I do have quite a few connections to other web developers. One of them, which I work very, very, very closely with, which I feel would be pretty good to add to the team, especially because then Pika can focus on upgrading the Encore itself rather than just, rather than doing Encore, the chain, and community, community questions and comments, concerns, etc. And me having to do as well, the website, helping out with some aspects of coding and, also being the community manager. At this point, because of how fast it grew, we're having a problem where we can't get enough, for lack of a better word, bring on new people to help with the project as fast as the community is actually growing. So at this point, it's a supply and demand issue in terms of having good people that we trust that are able to have those permissions on our channels without us having to worry about it.
Yeah, definitely. And did get a question, so we're kind of catching up. Apologize if we've fallen behind on the responding to the questions in chat. So maybe I'm misunderstanding your point there, Bitcoin Bob, so apologize if I had that wrong. So like at go time, it's all off to the races with no pre-sale. What a frantic mess that always is. So again, correct me if I'm misunderstanding your point, but like to clear up the matter here is there is no off to the races at this point. There is nothing anyone needs to do to like secure their buy-in. It is there. It is ready to go. And the only thing would be when it's done is really just come in and start reaping your rewards. It's done. I mean, as I recall, there's no need for anyone to take any further action to stake into the platform, if I'm getting that correct, right, Iron?
At this point, that is the general consensus, unless something goes terribly wrong, which I highly doubt.
Okay, so, yeah, setting aside the possible complication as it stands is, buy-in now, you're done. You don't need to do anything, you don't need to take any steps, there's nothing to claim, there's no rush to market for anything, you're in, you're staked, and you can just come back at your leisure and collect the rewards.
Just out of a point of caution, because I did have this problem with MetaMask, and then a lot of people were asking about it. When you go onto the site, make sure that you have a wallet that actually has Encore as a token on there, so that the site will allow you to connect it. Yeah, just so that there's no confusion there, because a lot of people were saying, "Oh, the site's not working." No, it's because you don't have the smart contract in there. MetaMask doesn't actually list Encore as of yet. In the search bar where it automatically adds it if you connect to the site.
Yes, okay, yeah, so you're talking about that when you go to engage with the site and you go to claim your asset, the rewards for having bought in, just like people have experience with Core, if they do that and then go check their MetaMask wallet, it's not going to show Encore there, just like all the number of altcoins out in the world, as everyone should be familiar with everything else they buy.
Yeah, unless you add it manually, which I would recommend to do.
Yeah, definitely. So you can either be like me and not give a fuck, like my MetaMask has no idea what my goddamn assets are. It's got a list of shit that I don't hold anymore, and most of my portfolio isn't even in there. Fuck it, I just work through it with Zapper and Zerion. Mostly I manage my portfolio with ETH to be honest. Fuck it. Why do I need a tool on anything? But yes, you do bring up that good point there. Thank you.
Sorry, another question or another thing in the chat. Jara Rap said, could you remove the pinned message on Telegram or just the "I'm tired of the rumors" thing? It's unprofessional, to be honest. Well, see, the way that we see it, it's not unprofessional. It's real. We don't want to be. We don't want to be the type of team where it's completely like a robot and we answer everything perfectly. We want to show our feelings on things and how we plan to deal with those problems. So the fact that Pika included that, I'm tired of the rumors, that is something that a normal person would say. It's like, hey, I'm tired of all of this false information going about me and my project. Let's clear it up. And he goes on in an entire paragraph listing every single address, all the Coven test networks, everything that anybody might need to actually check up on the project.
Oh, okay, there you go. So yeah, that's a point to take. Your call, guys, on how you're going to interpret that, normal speech, kind of like my take on the bombastic, rah-rah cheerleading marketing hype that sounds more rivalrous and antagonistic than I really intend. Just having fun, really. Similar point here is hey, it's humans, man. Humans saying human stuff. Humans are going to say things, and I would actually say that that's actually a fairly restrained comment in there. It's not calling anyone out specifically. It's just saying, look, there are these rumors. I get a lot of crap and a lot of messages about these rumors. I could spend a bunch of time telling everybody individually what the resolution or clarification on the rumors are, so boink, here's that answer for you guys. Kind of like a frequently asked questions, basically. So, yeah. But pardon, I keep interrupting and expanding on that. You're doing a great job, man. So anything else you want to bring up or address?
This stream will be uploaded as a video, correct?
Yes, I archive all of the streams as soon as we end. They're already always available. People can always come in and look at them. Still have on my docket to migrate a lot of this over to library and or IPFS actually is the ultimate plan to start archiving stuff in there. So yes, this is available. You guys can link it, you can take it. Anything the charity does and anything I do is out under a Creative Commons attribution non-mod share alike license. So do as you will. well,
I'm
with its
sorry that
licensing.
if I'm cutting this short or not, but I do have another meeting
for it.
regarding moderator, getting a couple more mods and other things and community related here in 10 minutes.
Yeah, by all means. Why don't you go ahead and take your time? I thank you very much for helping out. I can handle some of the questions here because I think I've gotten info from you guys. I'm not speaking for your point, but some questions on my involvement in things, so I can handle it from there. Anything you wanted to close out with before you need to go?
I'd say that's about it. I just want to once again thank the community for entrusting us with the future development of this project, and I hope that we will continue to impress everybody.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your time. I'll let you get some more of your time back. You got busy meetings to get to, which actually addresses Dave C's question on like, hey, could I assist in speeding up, Iron's push? Hey, he is off to that meeting, as you just heard right now, to secure more resources to help manage that. All of this is blown up way faster and way bigger than I think anyone properly anticipated. So, yes, do hear you. It is a legit concern, Dave. Not dismissing it, saying that, yes, we are working on that. We are getting resources in, and as you heard, there is some available from Chain Community, some that have expressed interest in working through charity. We will present those for consideration. Iron and Pika can do their vetting and interview process to confirm anyone, so that way everybody's happy with who's involved. But yes, we are assisting in bringing to bear more resources on this as quickly as humanly possible, working to ensure that nobody's going to let slip through some malicious actor that's going to fuck things up with that regard. So, there we go.
Yeah, exactly. Alrighty. Have a good rest of your day, and as always, if anybody else has any questions, just drop them in Telegram or Discord, and we will get to it as soon as we can. Thank you very much for having us on.
Oh, thank you very much for joining. I appreciate you making the time. I'll let you go and kind of wrap up some of the questions here and handle that final explanation, maybe kind of move on to design of Chain if people are interested. So again, thank you, appreciate your time. I'll let you go and get back to your important work, and I hope this go ahead.
I was saying already, have a good rest of your day.
You too. And so that's where for everyone, like again, the whole point of us getting together right now, doing this stream to clarify some of the FUD that's out there. I'm sure much of it actually warranted, as in people are digging through things, investigating, confirming stuff, they're wanting clarification. I'm sure some folks, as always happens in the open market, people playing their various manipulation games and whatever, don't give a shit. This is fully intended to try to address all of that, to make it clear with not just counter arguments, but actual evidence, citing in code, citing the transaction. You guys can go back to the beginning of the stream where we handled that initial bug of possibly Ethereum evaporating off in the earth. That's not going to happen. We confirmed in the transactions everything's configured properly. So that's where, as I said, I'm happy to continue answering questions and addressing points. I apologize that we've kind of let the chat back up here and not addressed all of those. So I hope that does satisfy everyone's interest, curiosity, questions on this. I appreciate everyone in the chat helping each other out by answering those various points, assisting each other in getting that information, and all very legitimate questions. So I appreciate everyone, like you, Bitcoin, like you, Dave. I don't know, Dave, did I give you a wrench? You should definitely get a wrench for helping out. I appreciate that. Like, all legitimate questions, we are working on that, and definitely appreciate the feedback, especially when presented so politely and earnestly as you guys have been. So we hear that, want to get that worked on and addressed. So yeah, like I said, unless there's any other questions or I'm finding anything that I might have skipped here, for the most part it's looking like you guys did a great job of helping each other out and are answering each other's questions. So please let me know if we seem to have missed something or hadn't actually gone to that. But overall, yep, Encore is out. Encore is functional. And so I Alright, so to be clear there on the donations, you can always still send donations directly to me. That is coyote.eth or coyote.crypto. I'll drop those links in the chat there to be very clear. My weird spelling, not the normal spelling. But that is also where there is a charity that I and some compatriots of mine over the years that, being like minds on such things, have codified our beliefs in the theological and philosophical sense into an actual charity. Incorporation paperwork is in and being processed. That has actually gone through the state and is now just back with the attorneys, getting reviewed, confirmed, packaged up, and sent off. We will have the EIN shortly, so that's where I need to say that to be very clear. In church and donations, we are in the incorporation process. Yes, we are a church. Yes, we have a odd, what many would consider an odd theological background of this weird, well, what many would say weird melding of Discordianism, Sikh, and Christianity. We can definitely get into that with another stream of questions, but yes, there is a church. Yes, there is a charity. No, that was not Pika, that was Ian, the community manager, and they've left for now. Yes, there's a charity. The incorporation paperwork is in. It is being processed. We'll be getting back the EIN for that toot sweet. The legal fees for filing for the tax-exempt status are already paid, and literally just waiting for the EIN to fill in, and poof, off that goes. And thus, as soon as we get the EIN, we'll be publishing that, publishing the link to our articles of incorporation, so everyone can see that and confirm. You'll be able to see the directors on there, so haha! You'll finally get to find out who the fuck I am, because I'm on there. And then, because I'm not really trying to hide, I'm just having fun with this, to be honest. I like the pseudonym and I like the cartoon Doge. But that's where you'll get to see all of that, and thus can have your surety by being able to verify with the state boards and various regulatory commissions and whatnot. I don't know, I'm not a legal guy, I'm not giving legal experts, but you'll have the information to be able to verify that yes, this does exist, yes, it has got the tax-exempt status that it's filed for, and you'll be able to see the articles of incorporation that define that. And to be clear, they're pretty standard ones. The only clause that I added was that I will have to double check the exact citation, so pardon as I might misphrase things, but it is that the directors of the charity are bound to aid any non-aggressive individual or group seeking to improve themselves and or others through the adoption of decentralized technology, so long as that does not hurt or hamper the viability or ability to execute on its functions for the church and or the charity. So basically, we've got it in the charter, we're bound by the directive of the nonprofit charity, tax exempt as we're filing, that will be coming, we will confirm that once that is in, but we're bound by the charter to aid anyone that asks in anything involving decentralized tech and personal improvement towards self-reliance to be able to move forward. So it's in, it's set. We have talked amongst ourselves in the clergy to work out that yes, we do actually hold this as like a real religious belief. This is how much we believe in the technology, the concept of data processing, the concept of a trustless society. This, as by our reckoning and speaking with other theologians, the best way to describe it is a religious devotion, effectively. So we understand that. We're translating to normie speak and with our weird autistic ways and saying, yep, we consider this to be, a interesting divergence or offshoot of existing religious and theological traditions. We want to help codify that into a charity and define that. To be clear, there's been a lot of questions on Audit DAO. I want to be very, very clear, this is not replacing Audit DAO. This is not hampering Audit DAO. This is the best we could come up with for going through this to help expedite and accelerate that process, because now we can operate as a charity, we can do work, we can provide real value to the community and demonstrate that there is some worth to what we're doing and that you guys do actually value it by projects coming through, going through the auditing process, the educational programs, the auditor certification. I've been speaking with as many people as I can get my hands on, professionals, hence why Jared being involved is so great, to say that he's a professional in the financial exchange with a centralized exchange, and independently, not representing his exchange, he is assisting the project, and therefore we are getting the professionals involved to make sure that things are run smoothly and does continue on. So that is the whole point of our charity. We will be moving on to form Audit DAO. The whole point of this being to demonstrate to the industry and community as a large that we do think we have value to offer. We do think that this is something people will actually gain a benefit from. Use this to show that, yep, we can operate as a charity, we can do this work, the community loves it, we're able to build that up. Demonstrate that to industry professionals to say, okay, now that we've proven this here on a smaller scale in kind of a pilot, and we're going to continue on with this, but we do want to help form this completely independent, totally community-driven Audit DAO that is handling that as a completely secular board to do that. And our intention is to assist in the formation of Audit DAO and to commit our charity to essentially serving the interests of Audit DAO going forward, provided that the community continues voting in accordance with our morality and theology, which, provided you guys are focused on not screwing people, generating value, then we should have no problem working together with whatever you guys direct. And where advantageous, the charity will be operating independently in service of Audit DAO to a great degree, hopefully in close partnership with that and how that forms and the community manages that. So I want to be very clear here, we are still working on that. Our intention with this is to prove out through the church and the charity work here this initial concept, and to continue on with the church and the charity. We have every interest in doing this. As far as we're concerned, this expands, we get the necessary donations in to have that revenue stream, then we are staffing up and fully ready to make this our full-time job for this and talk with many existing points. So this is where, you know, Grahams of money, that is where you're entirely right. The way you're putting it, and I love that you brought it up to say, is that, yeah, that's kind of what we're going for here. Yes, was my vision for Audit DAO, and kind of the intention of doing that is to say, look, we need a similar regulatory body, but we don't want a centralized top-down method that's not appropriate to crypto. That is not the way we want to do things. We want to have a nice bottom-up, organic, emergent, community-driven effort, and therefore, yes, all 10,000 coins will be deposited at the beginning of the exchange. There is no additional tokens. Whatever you buy in now, you are getting the commensurate amount in your stake in there at that time, and there is no further action needs to be done, no further development. So yeah, on your point there of Grahams, yes, that is the intention here, to say, let's form a self-regulatory body that is completely voluntary. Given the decentralized nature of the tech, we can't stop anyone from doing anything, and we're not requiring anyone to go through our process. We're just saying that we, in direction of the community, think that this is a way to secure software code and provide that information to investors, to buyers, and to say, we're not guaranteeing the results of going through this process, but given that the community has stated that this is what they would like to see in the form of audits, in the form of code standards, as influenced with, well, members of the community are also devs and project leads, so they'll be chiming in too on what they think is good, and that way we can be that kind of self-regulatory body in the industry that hopefully at some point, if that ever should come to bear, at least my analysis of history tends to show that when the state finally does bother to pay attention to a new field and come in, if that field has themselves in order and has, you know, their own governing body that they've selected and managing things, they tend to go right to them and say, look, it's just everyone agrees that with you, it's much easier to just deal with you. And so we'll just figure out what that is. And so that our whole intention is to build that organization, to give that on-ramp, so that should that time come, hopefully if it manages properly, then you guys will be able to have that community involvement and that mechanism to continue influencing things. Because hopefully we'll be able to convince everyone to say, look, if you do need to sanction an official and have some regulatory body, how about we just make that us, and we'll just inherit the entire community input and oversight process. So, one question there on LARP dev. So, bro, I didn't respond to my DM on Twitter. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just swamped with messages and trying to get work done. It's that unfortunate case. Like, I don't mean this offensively. It was like the case of I could take time out to respond to all the various messages, or I could actually get the work done. So, I apologize. Thank you for bringing them up. I don't mean to be dismissive, and thus I'm answering them now. Yes, there is a multi-sig wallet in place, and that is, showed that earlier. The links are in the chat for the transactions there. I will go pull that up to share that right now to be sure. But yes, there is a multi-sig in place, and thus we're in. As far as vetting the dev, well, to be honest, as best as can be. I mean, like I said, it's a case of like, how much can be vetted on the dev? Like, we're dealing with kind of a non here. We're dealing with a kid that's in control. I mean, to be honest, when coming in, and I've gotten this feedback from a lot of people. I was talking to Algod on Twitter. We got a good report. I like Algod. I want to be clear here. Like, any banter that we may have publicly on Twitter is just people sparring and keep each other in check and honest, you know? So, like, I respect Algod. They've got good props. They got a good eye. They have an appropriate critical assessment. I've actually invited them and made the offer. Like, I kind of need a standards and practice and investigation director. Like, I got a charity. We need directors. You're more than welcome to help lead that charge. So, no commitment, just saying I made the offer. But similar case there is, yeah, in this case it was a matter of, I would love to do more vetting if there's time to plan that out in a project, but when I'm faced with the situation of, oh shit, this thing's live, and oh crap, the emergency withdrawal is in the control of one person. I'm not even going to say kid, just like one person. I wasn't entirely thrilled that core dev had that ability, but I'm like, whatever, if they're going to rug, they're going to fucking rug, and I'm not going to bet the house on this thing, you know? But in that case, like, well, it's already there, it's already in place, what's the best you can really do but push for the multi-sig? And I would just offer up with any concerns of Pika. They took it in stride, the pitching of the multi-sig, when we had that in the community chat. We went through everything. They executed that transaction right off the fucking bat. And so, boom, off we go. That guy lost all his money to uni. I have no idea what you're talking about, D, as far as the LARP dev. That guy lost all his money to uni. I don't know. If you'd like to elaborate, happy to address that or try to clarify. I'm just not sure what you're referring to, what guy or what thing happened with losing money to uni. So we'll happily address that. Question from Dave C. Again, I'm trying to go back through there. Alright, sorry, so like, ITV Hub, yes, there is progress with Team Finance. They are doing their development work. We have pretty much finished the auditing work and have the audit platform in place, really. We're just kind of wrapping up the tests and preparing to do a demo, so boom, off we go. From here, what is that? So yeah, that's progress on that front. Dave C, real quick, is that router fix Core did something Encore did. Would you assist with that? Yes, router fix is in the review. We actually earlier went through the transactions to confirm that, yes, the router is set, the addresses are set properly, the pair is already created on the exchange, and it is literally just waiting for that to go through. I just wish I could prepay for tokens before launch at launch price, so I don't have to fight for side Encore. Alright, I see what you're saying, Bitcoin Bob. Like, it's a difference of matter. Like, this is an LGE event, not a pre-sale event. They behave differently, pros and cons on either side. So, yeah, I understand personal taste and whatnot. This is new. I'm getting used to the idea too, but I'm actually finding I prefer the LGE events. Again, from there is Does it head track? Yeah, it is head tracking on my movements through a webcam, kind of. It doesn't pick up everything properly, and I move around a lot. Can we start a crypto lobby group? All right, to be clear, crypto lobby group, technically, charities like this cannot influence legislation. They can't promote any particular candidate, but that is something people can arrange, and within all legalities and satisfaction, if we can assist in forming such a group, we will, but understand we are bound in the regulations on taking certain activities. So we would like to help. We think such things are a good idea, and we will certainly rah-rah anyone that wants to organize that. Unfortunately, the path we're going with charity, and I hope guys see the value in that, is one that we just can't take that sort of political action, unfortunately. But who knows? Maybe people with the other a pack. So kind of just running through here. Yeah, so I got to the question there from LARP, so appreciate it. Oh, you're very welcome, LARP. I appreciate that you're saying thank you, and the multisig gives you confidence, so thank you there. Thank you for Who Will See Lambo for sharing the tips and everything. You've been like a huge help in all of these chats and trying to manage things. No, we did not find a bug yet. There is no bug as far as we can see, and thus can say in our professional, our assessment as, at least in my part, experienced coder in other software architectures and experience with Ethereum and getting input from any manner of parties. On top of that, I've made the commitment at Jerry's recommendation, the other signatory in the wallet. He's a centralized exchange guy. You have all the information in the chat there, pardon as I move on. But in this case, we are committed to making sure this goes through smoothly, and we'll be working on, in ensuring any changes or updates need to be done. As far as burning keys, yes, that is entirely possible on handling things. I don't want to speak for Encore Dev. It is their project. We are simply helping out in the charity regard, and thus can't commit to anything. But I would take the position that should the community be satisfied with how things are configured, feel no need to adjust any things like fees further, which, to be clear, all of that is controlled by the multisig wallet. So I would be open to that from the community if they're satisfied with this as it plays out, and thus would like to lock that down. So yep, so again, you're very welcome. I'm glad that I could help out. Like I said, I agree with clarifying the FUD. I figure the best way to combat FUD is just honest and earnest information, transparency as best we can, trying to figure out what is going on. Yes, the Encore multisig is implemented. Let me make sure I provide that link again in chat that I was showing earlier. But yes, it is implemented. It's already in place. It's already active. You can take a look there. You'll have read-only access, obviously, since you're not the signatory on there, but you can see exactly what it's configured for, what it's set up, the addresses that are in there. If you'd like to verify exactly what that correlates to, you should be able to track that down to the Encore deployer wallet representing Pika. Iron has their wallet in there or wallet address as the signatory there. Jared has a wallet address that they're using as the signatory, and I literally used the church's investment wallet address as that signatory, and that has an ENS name attached to it, so that is literally investments.chainchurch.eth there. Let me see. Do I know if the fee payout's higher than Core's? To be clear, the fee payouts are, for the community side, higher, yes. And so that's where Encore is technically taking a higher tax than Core, but the distribution of that tax is lower to the devs. The devs are taking less of a cut than Core and are getting more of that tax back to the holders of the token. So it's the same distribution model that you read in Core, same premise, and technically at the top level a higher tax is being taken, but that's to allow for a chance to distribute that out. So underneath that is that further distribution out to the community, and we've amongst ourselves negotiated the split on the dev portion. And so to give everyone some satisfaction there, to see like, oh, that seems like a high point to go to the dev. Understand that that is where the dev and project funds are being routed through. There is work to put in place a full fee dispensal contract behind that to be able to dole that out to the various team members. This is where Jared is taking a portion, and he has committed to working with this going forward. I have committed, Iron has committed, Pika is committed, we are getting our cuts, and to be clear, the portion of that that has been agreed to go as the charity portion is going directly to the charity. So, Pika's getting paid, Iron's getting paid, Jared's getting paid, they are doing work. I feel that is entirely warranted. The portion that's been argued to come to me, I'm routing directly to charity. And so I can't say for sure about the legal and tax implications. You guys would have to consult your own attorneys and accountants on the matter. As soon as we have donations and funding to do so, we will definitely be on behalf of the charity consulting an attorney to be sure. But I do commit to getting an answer on the matter where technically every transaction you're involved in where you're paying that tax, a portion of it is going out to a charity. Now again, like I said, I'm not sure what the implications of the difference, how that handled. I want you to speak with your own attorneys and get your own consultation there. We'll be getting a consultation as a recommendation to people of what an attorney we've been able to secure would say on that matter as soon as we have the revenue funding in to be able to afford that. Which should be pretty quick with all of this. But that's where that will be going out to a charity. We will be funneling those funds back through to support Encore, to support other projects, to continue development going forward, to expand and continue the work we've been doing, offering free audits to projects coming through, build out educational programs and such. So, yes, thank you, Dave, for answering questions on what happened. So, yes, they made a fork and took it out, and now more people are coming in to help. And yep, I agree with you. Transparent as hell, work is being done, and we are solid and good to go. ITV, big question, like, what are the key features of Encore over Core? Well, to be clear, one, the community is getting a larger portion of that transaction tax than in Encore. Two, the portion of the tax that is going out to the devs, that if you look in the code and were to see the dev fee, is to say, oh no, we're definitely not sending anything to the Clinton Foundation. No. This is all kept in-house, and this is used to benefit you guys and run the programs. We are a charity. Ultimately, the board of directors is making the decisions. The way things are organized and the way charities work just can't really have that voting mechanism there, but we are committed to getting input and doing things. Sorry. So let me just be clear here. When talking about the distribution, that's where the dev portion is coming out. That is where Pika is working on that fee distribution contract, and that's where I wanted to highlight there that out of the tax, larger portion than Core is going to the community, and out of the dev portion in that calculations, if you check the code and see where it says dev portion, dev fee, understand that that is lower than what it is on Core, and that fee is actually getting split between the signatories on the wallet and the portion that's been committed to, well, my portion as the signatory in the wallet. That's going straight to charity. So it is not passing through me. It is not moving in hands anywhere through there. It is going straight into charity coffers, and thus why I was saying we're going to need to consult and confirm the legalities of everything, exactly what implication that holds. Not sure the full ramifications of it, but I do commit that we will get that. We will engage the lawyers professionally. get that recommendation from them on what we can tell people exactly in that case, and, well, whatever that turns out to be, fantastic. So thank you very much on the 1,000 subscribers. I didn't really notice. Jesus, it's just been so hectic getting things done. So thank you all. I've been so incredibly flattered, and it's been so helpful. And yes, you're right. The 1.1 fee is it is technically just 0.1 higher, if I recall correctly, from Core. But again, they can change things, so I'm not sure where it is right now. It could adjust. But yes, that is where that 0.1% for the devs is pretty much the same as Core, and that's just that tiny little bit higher to provide that allowance to say, all right, we want to distribute that back out to the community, we want to distribute that without hurting the community portion out to the devs, and part of that has been so graciously committed to go to charity to continue funding our work. And like I said, we are committed to continuing and insisting on development with Core. It is still Pika's show. It is still Pika's project. We are only here to assist as needed, have ideas to offer, but that is up to the community. That is up to Pika. All right, we're not taking control or anything. We're just helping out. So, thank you, Gerda, on pointing that out for the fee and how it's being handled, and thank you, Pika, for pointing out there that I should be clearer in the term that I'm using there. But that's where I said, yep, that's the 0.04 or 0.04% is used for bounty or anything else. Yep, that is things that can be adjusted. That is, you're right, it is better than Core, and that's where a portion is going off to say, hey, they're appreciative of the work the charity's done, they're appreciative of the work Jared's offered up, and so we're going to get that portion paid out. So that's where I think hopefully folks can also get and understand, like, hey, understand, folks, that they may seem a little higher. Hopefully people can see the benefit of getting that donation and contribution going out to charity, and I want you guys involved. I want to get the feedback. Like, what do you want us to do? Where can we help out? We have ideas, clearly have priorities that we're working on and executing to get the value add that we propose, but once we have our basic process and framework in place, we are happy to hear input. Like I said, we got plans to expand with educational programs, support for small projects. Our whole point is to help out projects that don't have the big VC funding. We're happy to work with anyone, but it's like, if you got big funding and you got a big team, you kind of don't need us. So we're actually going to ask you for help and money, not the other way around. But if you really want it, all right, we're flattered. But for all the other stuff, folks like Pika, folks like any number of projects, to say, hey, look, we get it. You're small, you're starting off, you've got a limited team, it's difficult to get that funding and capital together. Let's help you get out the door and have a good relationship. Hopefully people going through our educational programs can contribute and learn from the work that you've done. You can get additional eyes overseeing that work to vet it through and make sure everything's sound and trustworthy, and boom, we'll help you get out the door. If you need signatories on a wallet to be able to help manage ownership, if that's necessary, we will make that available through the charity church to facilitate with that. And understanding that our whole point is we, in the charter, are bound to assist those that are non-aggressive, seeking to improve themselves through the adoption of decentralized technology, so long as it doesn't hurt the church or the charity. Therefore, come on up, guys. Let us know. We're happy to help. That's what we're here for. The welcome mat is always out, and if you think you have any skills to offer and want to do some work to help out, then we accept volunteers more than happily, and as we expand, we will definitely be looking to employ, and obviously anyone that starts off early, not sure I can say preferential treatment or commitment to employment, but clearly if you've done the work, you've gone through the education, and you have shown value in the community and actual knowledge and capability to operate professionally and maturely, even if you are a non, then we're happy to see through. In fact, as a wonderful example, Jeff Exter over on Twitter, he has been doing really the heavy lifting on a lot of the development. There's another one, I'm not sure I want to mention names, they like to be very anonymous and shy. and really don't like credit, but they are also helping out significantly, doing a lot of that heavy lifting while I've been managing community, managing business meetings, getting legal paperwork in place and everything, and basically giving them space to work. But Jeff has the idea for NFY. He is rolling that out. We have full plans to run that through the prototype or final version release first version release of our auditing platform as that initial run, and that is exactly the model that I would like to follow going forward. That people come, they want to learn, they want to contribute, we help out, build that network, build those relationships, get the skills in place for everyone, and then anyone that gets an idea and wants to come back through with a project to run through, very happy to see that, matriculation up into the next stage of the process. We would run projects through, and for auditors that are interested in doing this, we would be setting that standard of, okay, you got to work on a project that gets successfully out the door through the auditing process first. You got to have demonstrated some technical knowledge and capability there, but with those two together, then boom, we can move you into the auditing certification and approval process. So all right, I hope that answers a lot of the questions here. I appreciate the love and the adulation and the appreciation. It is I'm very thankful and appreciative that you guys are seeing value in our work. We're really doing our best to serve the community here and figure things out as we go. We're obviously humans and other biological life forms that are fallible or disembodied consciousness from other dimensional realms, and are just doing our best here. We are trying to get as much enlistment as possible. Anyone that has earnest interest in either checking our work, contributing to our work, or just anything really, we just want fucking help, man, because we really just want to see this through. We want to make sure the sector's good. We want to make sure there's good projects for people. So if you see a problem in our work, just come let us know. Tell us what we did wrong. We'll happy to improve. If you can teach us something about that, if you can teach the people on the projects something about that, then boom, we are happy to take that off to the races and include you in that educational process. So spread the word. Anyone's got an issue, anyone's trying to spread FUD about anything we're doing, anything, just tell them, come let us know. Bring their evidence, cite it in the code, explain where the error is. We're happy to support their publishing of the report, would be thrilled to have them contribute more in that. If they only have that assessment, by all means, fine. But, hey, if somebody's bringing in some, understandable and legitimate concerns, they're presenting them with evidence, we're able to engage with them and address those either with clarification or modification of design and implementation. We are very thankful for people doing that. But, just don't be a fucking dick about it. We're willing to hear you out and work on it. Just no need to be a giant fucking dick about things. Which, so far, nobody really has. We've got our fudsters, but for the most part, I think all the people against it are really just kind of fudsters, to be honest. That financial freedom is a beautiful thing, and your church accepts undocumented investors who want to make money. Yeah. Again, not undocumented investors. We are a charity. Technically, we don't have investors, as I understand it, in that there is not a dividend or profit to be seen out of this. Anything that we contribute to or build, anything that we work on, is not intended in any way as a dividend method or dividend collection method on anything the charity is doing. Charity resources are devoted to helping the community get secure, reliable projects out there and help define a community-driven standards by which we can audit and confirm the validity and security of projects and code going out. And as far as any projects where you could get rewards, that is simply a tool or platform that the charity has helped bring forth and making available to you guys in the standard decentralized non-custodial way to say, hey, here's a tool. We're not actually collecting profit from this. There might be a fee that's going on to the charity to help continue funding that work, but our intention actually is, and I've gotten some good advice from some laymen that matter to pursue, but the concept of defining such platforms and projects as irrevocable trusts, essentially creating the project itself as a legal entity. There is precedent for this. This is how various software foundations that are in existence already manage things. They define the code as that irrevocable trust. It has defined in the trust its stipulations on like ensuring the sanctity of the code, the purity of the code, making sure that that is maintained properly for managing the licensing. In their cases, they don't really have like a revenue stream to manage because, you know, it's code and the code itself doesn't generate revenue. In our case, we're a little weird because the code isn't exactly generating revenue, but there is revenue flowing through it. And if the code were to, as an irrevocable trust, collect a fee on that, again, getting further legal consultation on it, and I am only reporting what initial research has indicated, and we'll be publishing the full assessment on that, but the preliminary understanding that we are working under and pursuing in getting that legal consultation to confirm and refine is to say, well, can we define the platforms as an irrevocable trust? Can they, as a legal entity, collect dev fees, platform fees, you know, the normal stuff you're used to, and hold that in a reserve for the irrevocable trust, and then engage the charity as the executors on that trust? Meaning that we're not actually collecting that revenue. It's not actually dividends or anything that's coming to us. Nothing that you're getting is actually realizing any sort of profit in any way from the charity's work. It's that we've simply helped define and build out for the community this platform, and to secure that would be defining that as an irrevocable trust, and therefore able to have it manage itself effectively as its own distinct legal entity, defined in the trust stipulations like community oversight, community guidance, exactly how such matters should be handled as far as votes and things, and thus simply engage the charity as the executors on that trust to say, well, we've got a budget here. This is the budget you guys have available for executing on the trust as defined in the trust. You guys don't technically get to make any decisions, the charity I mean. That is defined in the trust as coming from the community and the trustees, if I remember correctly. Again, not a legal guy, gotta check with your own attorneys, and we'll be engaging them to get the proper, you know, assessment and explanation of things. But like I said, initial premise is that for projects like Chain or others going forward, and again, not committing to Chain because there's a lot of involvement there, and I don't want to speak for everyone involved necessarily, but things like defining irrevocable trust, making the platform or various platforms their own legal entity, not a requirement on anyone working with us, just offering up that explanation of like, okay, so charity does a thing and puts something out there, what does that mean? Like, means we don't have a product. Means that we have helped the community get a product out there, and at the direction of the community, we have helped define that as a legal entity, structured the budget and revenue such to ensure the legal compliance and structure of that, and also to make sure that everyone understands that any fees that are collected by the platform are reserved for platform work, for future dev work, other commitments and such, or maintaining any infrastructure or work that needs to be done in this regard, and thus the charity itself is essentially just getting engaged and paid out of that budget to do that work and execute on that. But technically the charity is not in charge. Technically the charity is not able to make those decisions. So, thank you very much for saying it's well said. I also despise any centralized authority. Anyone that says, no, go ahead and cede to me your power. I will go off in private and solve those big complicated problems that are too difficult for your little plebeian brain to handle, is no. That's just not acceptable. Like, no. You can do that out here where everyone can watch. There's no reason for you to go off in private. Thank you. So yes, trying to be strong, trying to bulk up, trying to make that really a power for you guys. So like I said, I believe in the tech, I believe in the community, I think this is the path forward, and we want to do everything we can, much akin to Jared saying, working with the centralized exchange to say, look, we've got an existing system, they got their way of doing things, we're not trying to be antagonistic, we'd like to work within the system, so let's have that body that can help liaise and manage that. So, looks like things are kind of winding down. Again, thank you, Lambo, and everyone else that has helped promote the various links for donations and such. Yes, there is the NFT available. That is limited time for the inauguration of this. It is a minimum donation to be able to redeem that. That is a non-transferable NFT to set the expectation. One, it is a simply kind of commemorative receipt for your donation to the charity, which we are still in process of incorporating, and thus is still up to you to engage your own legal counsel on whether that would be tax deductible. You can check clause 502 of the U.S. tax code if you're in the U.S. jurisdiction on what sort of things to discuss with your attorney. I cannot make that recommendation. That is up to you guys to work out while we are still in process. But this is essentially a receipt. Our intention of making it non-transferable was under advisement that a possible way, and again, we all know that we're on the cutting edge of everything here, and so we still need to see how things play out, but the intention being that because when people make a donation, if they receive a gift as part of that donation, then they need to take that difference out of any amount that would be deducted from taxes. And so we realized, if we give out this NFT as kind of a commemorative receipt or gift, technically, if that's transferable, it could be counted as an asset because you could try to trade that on the market, and thus, if someone puts it out on like OpenSea at like $1 million at some point, suddenly that introduce a weird situation of tax liability for people, whereas like you thought you were just getting this like commemorative receipt, but somebody over here decided to sell it for $1 million like 10 years down the road, and now you got to contend with like, oh crap, do I have capital gains or something on this thing that I and no one else really intended to trade around? So our understanding and assessment on this, again, consult your own attorneys, is that, well, if it's not transferable in the code, it's bound to the wallet address that made the donation, then it shouldn't really count as a gift or a asset of any kind, because it can't be traded, and as far as the charity is concerned, it holds no special value in our regard. It doesn't gain you special access. No offense. Again, you're seeing the legal implications we're trying to mitigate here. Thus, technically this thing really has no value. You can't trade it. It doesn't get you anything special with the charity other than thank you very much for getting it on the ground floor, and is really just intended as a thank you to everyone to say, well, we want to acknowledge that you got in early. And so, pardon there, I just need to make that point of it's technically non-transferable. Also, one point on the image, I apologize. We had trialed out an initial draft of IPFS links for OpenSea. In initial tests, it seemed to work. When went live, it did not. We are concluding that was either a change on OpenSea's part or something that did not make it from the tests into their full production that we were not aware of. So our intention is, at the end of the donation round, since we should have the funds to cover it then, to go back and execute the transactions to update the metadata to correct the link, for one. Two, to also update everyone's specific NFT with the amount that they donated over that course. So we'll be taking time to go through that. It might be a bit while we handle all that work and go through the transactions to do that. So with that, love you guys. Thank you very much for joining. I hope this cleared things up. Share the video around. I know it's been a while. Lots of work to do, things to get to, so I will have to bid you adieu.